Hi everyone,
Welcome along to
Alan. Another plumbing problem or a question I've had asked is the difference between this thing here, the main stopcock. This is a big 3/4 one, but the 50mm one you usually have in your house, and these things here, which are the gate valves. Now there is a difference between how they're used. This main stopcock, they're usually what they say, they're on the mains. They're usually under your sink and they're usually shut the whole house mains down. Okay, generally you don't find too many of these in the house. They're for high pressure. You don't normally find these at all on a cold feed from the tank. You will only find gate valves, and they're a different principle in working to the gate valve that uses a gate that closes up and down inside a housing, whereas this uses a washer and a seating. I'm going to do a how to repair the washer in one of these stopcocks on a video coming up, just in case yours doesn't shut off properly. If you find it lets by, I'm going to do a video on that. It will be on my channel, okay, Derrington33. But basically that's the stopcock. And what I want to show you really is that if I show you my gate valves there, now this one feeds the boiler because I've got a little F&E tank up there, and this one here feeds the cold feed to the bathroom because all my cold taps are off the tank, and you can always tell if they're off the tank, but if you can hold the water pressure back with your thumb, as a rule of thumb, that's pretty good, you can tell that your cold water is off the tank and you'll have a gate valve. And I've got another one here. This one feeds the hot water cylinder, which is down here, and that in turn comes out and does all the hot taps. So basically my hot and cold in the bathroom are there to shut down, and that's generally where gate valves are used on low pressure. Now the only thing with gate valves is after a few years they don't shut quite off properly. The gate gets corroded, especially in hard water areas up in Kent. You get lumps of grit and shit, and if they're on mains, iron anywhere on the system, that iron can also get under the gate. So sometimes they don't shut that well after a while, but that's a function of the gate. Also with a gate valve, don't ever be tempted to shut these down with a pair of grips really hard, because if you do, I've had where they snap off, the gate snaps off inside the actual housing, and when you turn it back on you won't get no water out because the gate will be snapped off inside, and believe me, it's a devil ever's job then to get the water drained out of the tank up in the loft and get that nut undone and get the water out of the line and get a new valve on. It's a terrible hard job, so don't be tempted to shut one of these gate valves down because it's letting by with grips. You know, I know I can give it a tiny bit, but if you don't know what you're doing and you try and grip this off really hard to stop the water because it's not shutting down properly, there is a likelihood you could snap that off in the off position, and it is an absolute nightmare to sort out. Okay, so just a word of warning with gate valves. Okay, now I'll just show you a quick drawing that I've done. Yeah, just to show you roughly where they go really, as I've just showed you there. As I've said, gate valves usually are located in the loft, okay, by the roof tank, or in the airing cupboard. Generally these days more the airing cupboard, but if you can't find them in there, it probably will be in the loft, unfortunately. Now as I've showed on this drawing here, is a valve that's on the loft, and they're usually right next to the tank. They'll be right next to the tank as it comes out, as the pipe comes out. As I can see, that one goes down into the hot water tank and out to your taps. And this cold feed comes down here and into your toilet pan, basin and bath. Okay, so that's it. Sometimes you don't have the cold water off the tank for the bathroom. It could be mains fed, in which case this one won't be there. Okay, but if the valves aren't there, so if you're lucky like me, you'll have the valves in the airing cupboard, and it will still do the same. You haven't got to go up in the loft to shut them down, but that's not always the case. If they're not in the airing cupboard, I'm afraid they're in the loft by the tank. So that's basically their use. The mains, as I say, there's the mains coming up, and it feeds the ballcock, the main storage tank. And a lot of houses are just mains up to the roof tank, feeding the valve, and that's it, and you'll have a stopcock there. Also, if you have a combi, you won't have any of these gate valves anywhere. If you've got a combi boiler system, pressurised, you will only have main stopcock, and that's it, you know, going up to your combi. Okay, there won't be no gate valves, so that's another thing to bear if you've got a combi system. And the only other tap that's a stopcock will be your outside stopcock. Okay, that's out in the path, the garden, it may be just inside the garden wall. Usually these days have a water meter attached to them. There can be a little plastic thing. I've got a video on one of those showing that somewhere. If you look on my channel, Darrington33, how to locate and where to turn them off if you've got one that's a little plastic half-turn valve with a water meter. Otherwise you'll have an ordinary stopcock and you may need a key to go down to turn it off. They can get a bit stiff. Okay, because they don't get used all that often. And the mains will come up. You'll have your stopcock down by the sink or under the sink. I'll put it beside it there. And then once you shut it down, you shut the main cold to the sink and you shut the main cold to the roof tank. And that's basically their uses between stopcocks and gate valves and where to locate them. Generally, I mean, there is some odd cases, maybe valves might be put in odd places in houses, but really this is generally the norm. So if you're trying to find out where your valves are, that is usually the normal situation as we've got it there. Thanks for watching. You know where to find me, Al's Plumbing Channel.